I, everyone, the life, the universe, want us to be ourselves or higher self, to integrate all parts of ourselves, to be individuated. Life wants us to learn from our life lesson and to understand, accept, integrate all parts of ourselves, the positive and the negative, our talent and weaknesses, and for that, during all our life, we meet the right person at the right time to discover, to learn this trait about ourselves that we have to understand, accept, and integrate. The global pattern I notice is children are the karma life lesson of their parents and also a gift. The children are and all the non-understood, non-integrated part of their parents that parents have not yet integrated in themselves. Parents have to learn, understand, accept, integrate these traits, differences present in their children through unconditional love, listening, communication, understanding, whether these part, personality, functioning traits are in the 8 cognitive function system, in astrology, human design, in enneagram system, in neurology, neurodivergence, or in other system, knowledge about the self. The children help the parent in their self-integration, individuation, and the parent helps the children too in their self-integration, individuation. But like most of parents are stupid and unaware, they don't want to let go their ego, perception, functioning, and they impose their own perception, functioning to their children by trying to make them a copy carbon of themselves. By doing that, they traumatize them, move them, detach them from their natural, authentic self. Our trauma are simply due to our differences of functioning, personality, and environment not adapted to us, another functioning and environment not suitable, beneficial to our functioning, have been imposed on us. The children, everyone, all we want and need to do is to be ourselves and learn, accept all parts of ourselves, nothing more. We have been traumatized because parents, people, society told us it was not okay to be ourselves. For a parent and child who are the same psychological type, your differences may be in a system other than the 8 cognitive function model. You surely have different human design type, enneagram type, or neurotype. For a parent and child who are in the same foresight of the mind group, you are quite lucky. You both have inside you the same for psychological type. You both have a perception, observing function, or judging, deciding function as dominant function. You are the subconscious side or shadow, unconscious side or superego side of each other, which can facilitate the integration of each other. The relation can be hard, but it is really beneficial on the long term. If only the last letter change between the parent and child, you are quite lucky. You both are introvert or extrovert. You prefer the same function. You both prefer NF or NT or SF or ST. It is a healthy and safe learning because you both have different function stack. You will learn and integrate the function of your unconscious shadow side and you get along together very well. You are very similar but very different. For a parent and child who are the subconscious side of each other, you are in the same family, quadra, have the same function in your primary stack, you share the same value. This will help you to learn, value and use your lower function. It can be challenging and stressful. If your gender are different, it is good to integrate your anima or animus. For a parent and child who are the unconscious side of each other, especially if your gender are different, it can be challenging too, but good to integrate your shadow. For a parent and child who have their dominant and demon function switch, the 1 and 8, they may see each other as a demon, but it also provides comfort. They can destroy or help each other. A bad case, and maybe the worst case, is when the function 1 and 7 are switched. They are the perfect opposite of each other, and communication is extremely difficult, often impossible. For a parent and child who are in the same quadra family. It generally work well, they have the same value, but sometimes it can also be challenging and difficult. For a parent and child having the same middle function and the same dominant function in the other attitude, it is generally a good relation. They learn the other attitude of their dominant function, but sometimes it can also be challenging. For a parent and child having the same dominant function and different second function, I find it is a good way to learn, understand, integrate, and see the value of their function 7, the trickster, blind spot. Even if disagreement can often happen, it is also a good development for introvert because to NI, to TI, to FI, to SI can be different. When things get complex or complicated is when a parent and child have different neurotypes, when one is neurotypical and the other neurodivergent, there is the double empathy problem. They have hard time to have empathy, compassion, and to understand the other. It is really we are two different species which do not mix. The differences of functioning and conflict between the two groups, neurotypical and neurodivergent, are more important, existential and destructive, than between introvert and extrovert, or sensor and intuitive, or feeler and thinker, or decider and observer preferences. One of the worst cases, for example, is functioning very differently by having the rarest function as dominant function, NI, function the most devaluated, ignored, rejected by Western culture, being very neurodivergent, gifted, Asperger, ADHD, and having a neurotypical mother, low IQ, ESFJ, the total opposite of my type, INTJ, or dominant and 7 function, or best and worst function are switch, or having a parent with a personality disorder like narcissistic, histrionic, or bipolar, for example. Sincerely, everyone, before to be in a love relationship and before to be parent, they should do their inner work, integrate all parts of themselves, be individuated, mature, aware, responsible. Why? Because if they don't heal their traumas, they will project their traumas and non-integrated part of themselves into others and especially into their loved ones and children and will traumatize them at their turn. Just stop the cycle and do your inner work, go into your suffering and heal. Make children only if you personally truly desire it and not to conform society and parent expectation, or to educate a child, simply let them be themselves and instead to yell at them, to traumatize them, to hurt them psychically, mentally and physically, and to fragment them, communicate, explain, listen to them, help them with their weaknesses, and they help you with your weaknesses. You help and teach them their lower function, and they help teach you your lower function. Help each other instead to destroy and fragment each other. Just let go your ego and perception, be open and receptive to learn from others. We always learn from each other. Remember that each relationship between two individuals is unique because we are all unique and different. We don't educate an intuitive or highly intuitive child in the same way than a sensor. We don't educate an introvert in the same way than an extrovert. We don't educate a thinker in the same way than a feeler. We don't educate a neurodivergent in the same way than a neurotypical. We don't educate every type in the same way. We don't educate every type, profile, energy in human design system in the same way. If you do, you traumatize them, you move them, push them from their authentic self, natural functioning, authenticity, you make them not themselves. We don't educate, we just help children and everyone to grow, develop, integrate all their cognitive function, traits, and part of themselves, make them more responsible, balanced, and wise, help them to be the best version of themselves, and this helping should be individual, personalized, unique, and it is easier to do, I think, when all the functions are integrated, especially the intuition and FI introverted feeling. We don't educate, we learn from each other's uniqueness, individuality, and parents also have to learn from their children. Your child equals a part of your life lesson, your function, trait, part of yourself, not integrated, that you have to learn, accept, integrate through understanding and learning from your child through unconditional love and acceptance. Listening, observing lead to understanding, lead to acceptance, lead to integration, empathy and compassion lead to help others. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.